So we're continuing to monitor the recheck of that side hatch closure. The team is performing that leak check now. Should be wrapping that up pretty soon. Once we get the leak check confirmed.
Dragon SpaceX, good side hatch leak check.
Good news, Arthur, thanks.
All right, great news there. You might have heard some clapping here.
Yeah.
I should mention, John and I here are located at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. I actually hear some beeping now. We are a live operations environment here in the rocket factory.
Yep.
We're 1 hour and 18, just over 1 hour and 18 minutes until launch, and we're starting to see people gather, and really, the excitement is starting to build, and just hearing the confirmation that that leak check was good, that side hatch is going to stay closed. The crew is, I think at that moment, as I mentioned before, the seat rotation, that's an exciting moment because it's like you're locked into the roller coaster, and, here we go. And now hearing that side hatch is good, it's closed, and it's going to remain closed until they splash back down. So when the crew ingresses and egresses from the space station, they will use the forward hatch. So that side hatch now will remain closed until they return to Earth after splashdown.
Right, that's a huge step forward in today's launch. So, in addition to the scope of the science and research and outreach being performed on this mission, AX-1 is also taking some time to better understand the role that food plays on orbit. A partner on this mission and a good friend of Axiom Space is Chef Jose Andres and the team at Think Food Group. Known for his visionary culinary creations and humanitarian efforts, Chef Jose's World Central Kitchen is doing important work helping to feed those who are displaced.
Chef Jose also prepared the meals and snacks accompanying our crew to the ISS. In space, astronauts have limited kitchen equipment and ingredients on hand, so having already prepared meals that are both appetizing and comforting is a great way to feel connected to home.
Right, so joining us now is Chef Charisse Gray, who you saw in that video, Director for Research and Development at Think Food Group. Chef, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Chef, clearly Think Food Group is doing instrumental work in bringing people together with food, and has for a long time. What has been your team's mantra or ethos when it comes to creating these new dishes?
Well, at Think Food Group, our mission is to change the world through the power of food. And that's why we're so incredibly proud to partner with Axiom Space to have created the meals for the AX-1 multinational crew headed to the International Space Station. As Chef Jose Andres often talks about building longer tables, this is such an extraordinary opportunity to do just that, bringing together the hardworking AX-1 crew through food, reaching all the way to space.
So, as a partner on AX-1, the culinary teams at Think Food Group have developed a meal to be shared amongst the crew in space on the space station. What did you put together?
So, partner on the food mission was born on a friendship between Chef Jose and fellow Spaniard and veteran astronaut Michael Lopez Alegria, the commander of the upcoming mission. And as a result, we really wanted to lean on the flavors and traditional dishes of their native Spain. So we've made secreto de cerdo with pisto, which is a prized cut of Iberico pork with tomatoes, onions, eggplant, and peppers. And the second meal is chicken and mushroom paella. Paella is, Spain's quintessential rice dish, and the AX-1 crew will be able to enjoy also along with that some Spanish jamon, salchichon, and Marcona almonds.
Super cool. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about the significance of those choices?
We wanted to be sure that we created meals that were not only nutrient-rich, but satisfying and really delicious. Unlike, traditional ready-to-eat meals that are designed for quick consumption. As chefs, we understand the importance of really, bold and memorable flavors and created food that you'd really want to eat anywhere in the world, or in this case, out of this world.
Exactly right. So what were some of the challenges that you faced in trying to prepare those meals for out of this world?
to make meals that are going to be traveling, for over 250 miles away and, putting in the forefront really crew member safety, they had to be very carefully prepared. And so the AX-1 crew meals were thermostabilized through the retort process.
Now, your teams also put together a set of snacks that the crew is taking with them to enjoy at various points on their journey to the ISS. We were fortunate enough to receive a few of those extra packets, and we'd love to share a snack together with you. What do we have here?
So you're holding one of the pouches of the actual meals. Let me see what you've got there. It looks like you might have got the pesto or the rice.
I think I have the Valencia rice with chicken.
Yes.
And I just spilled it everywhere.
There's the pesto there.
Wow, just immediately the aroma just is strong. It's in a very good way.
Yeah.
It's my mouth is already watering.
Well, and that's
John, what do you have?
Yeah, so I've got the pork stew, and I've got to say the same. The aroma, I think, is really what I would appreciate if I was on orbit and opening this up for the first time. Right? We've heard so much, especially on the crew system side at Axiom, how much aroma plays into, just enjoying your meal, and that can go away during your time on orbit. So I think it's a really important aspect to consider when you're preparing meals.
But also, snacks are super important. So, along with those meals, the AX-1 astronauts will also be able to enjoy some really Spanish delicacies such as jamón ibérico de bellota, jamón salchichón from Fermin, Casas de Juelo olive oil, and Marcona almonds by Albert Adria.
This is way better than I would have anticipated.
Yeah, I've got to say, this is amazing, Chef Charisse. Thank you very much for putting this together, and thank you for letting us enjoy it. I was talking earlier about the importance that aroma plays, right, and being able to enjoy your meal. And we've often heard crew members reflect on how there's really just no better way to see a world without borders up there than just simply looking out the window while on orbit and enjoying some time together. So, something as simple as sharing a meal, right, together, but while looking back at home, can really be a pivotal step in coming to that realization together. So thank you very much for putting this together for our crew. Thank you for working with them. And thank you for joining us today and letting us enjoy this together. So we wish you and the Think Food Group as much success as possible, and we look forward to hearing how it turns out on orbit.
Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing us to be part of such a momentous day.
Thank you for sharing that with us. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well,
after you.
I was going to say, at Axiom, we are hard at work building the next destination in low Earth orbit, and Axiom Station is being designed as a true continuation and evolution of the International Space Station. So much gained over the last 20-plus years in orbit. Axiom's goal is to build upon the successes and lessons learned over that time while bridging the gap between the ISS and commercial spaceflight. Ultimately, allowing greater access to that knowledge and capability ensures that humans continue to benefit from time spent in low Earth orbit. Axiom's first private astronaut missions are crucial steps in learning how the relationships between government and private industry can grow and change.
The International Space Station is really an amazing engineering achievement. In the last 21 years, there's been permanent human presence in space. We've slowly progressed from capsules and vehicles that visited for a short time to places like Skylab, where we ultimately did a 90-day mission back in the 70s. Now we're on ISS for a year or more. And now it's time for the next space station.
Axiom Space is about making living and working in space commonplace. The government has forecasted a demand for flying NASA crew members to low Earth orbit to conduct basic research and furtherance of their goals of deep space exploration.
Then we also want to expand what can be done in space. 15 years from now, 20 years from now, we're going to be surrounded by objects that we can't live without that were manufactured in space.
Today, we are in the process of building our first two elements. We have subsystems in development. We have a full lab of life support hardware that we're putting through its paces. We are building a propulsion system. It's a lot of those details in developing a space station.
The first 2 modules are being built by our partner Thales Alenia, and we're heading to what is called CDR, which is a critical design review. That really means that 90% of the design is done, and then you're ready to go to manufacturing. So HAB1 is that first module. It has 4 crew quarters, it has payload accommodations, and it has all of the systems required to keep crew healthy and alive. So the plan is we'll fly 4 separate modules to the ISS. When we arrive with the 4th module, it'll have what we need to be independent of the ISS.
So a lot of thought went into how do we allow it to grow. When we look at the future, we have thoughts on how we could double the number of crew every 5 years.
There's a lot of excitement here about the AX-1 mission. Everyone understands that it's a very historic mission. We are just so excited to be part of that and having our people enable this historic moment.
The AX-1 mission provides us the opportunity to refine our flight techniques and operations concepts in order to meet the higher complexity of operating a space station in orbit. That moment where we're captured and birthed to the International Space Station will be a moment that defines how we move forward as a species in low Earth orbit. This will be really the first time a fully commercial element has been part of the complex.
Axiom Station is going to allow humanity to be a multi-planet species. When we pull that off, we change the world.
And speaking of growing and expanding opportunities in low Earth orbit, this Axiom mission adds to a story that began in 2003. In Israel, Eitan Stiba is not just becoming the second Israeli astronaut in the country's history, but he is following on the legacy of Ilan Ramon. For Israel, this is a mission of peace and hope, and they have called this mission Rakia, which is a word that means the heavens or firmament in English. So to tell us a little bit more about the Rakia mission, we send you now to our good friends in Tel Aviv, Israel, who are actively monitoring today's launch efforts.
Thank you, John and Kate, and thank you for joining us here at the Rakia headquarters in Tel Aviv. I'm Omri Doron, and together with me is the Israeli team of Rakia and its partners who have worked day and night to make this mission possible. Now, all joined together for this exciting launch of AX-1 to the International Space Station. Hundreds of thousands of Israelis are watching us from their homes. In Israel, we're at a very exciting moment. For the first time in 19 years, and for only the second time in our nation's history, one of our own will be in space again, Israeli astronaut Eitan Stiba. Eitan is dedicating his journey to the Rakia mission. And what that means is that his time in space will be devoted to fulfilling the innovative ideas and creative dreams that were chosen by the people of Israel for Rakia. Every part of this Rakia mission has been developed in Israel with the goal to be impactful and innovative. For an Israeli child, this will be the first time to hear Hebrew lessons and demonstrations on the ISS. For Israeli scientists, artists, and educators, this will be a rare opportunity to perform their works in the unique microgravity environment with a home-trained astronaut. This will contribute greatly to international and Israeli research industries. Now, during the next 10 days, thousands will visit this venue and get to know the story of Rakia and AX-1. Here, our Rakia Mission Control Center will provide a unique opportunity for visitors to see behind the scenes of human spaceflight throughout Eitan Stiba's Rakia mission. It is our hope that those who follow Eitan on his journey understand that the Rakia mission promotes professional collaborations and manifests values of peace, innovation, social responsibility, and sustainability. It strives to connect the people of Israel and the world to these values and inspire dreams of possibility, because no dream is beyond reach. Now, as we close from Tel Aviv, I'd like to present a short movie that will further highlight the significant efforts of the Rakia mission.
Just in case you find yourself leading an inspiring mission to space, here's a packing list that might help. You start with the basics. Ever-expanding dreams. Respect for borders mixed with utter disregard for them. Dozens of wishes. A poem. Your favorite soundtrack. Your biggest hopes. A hunger for miracles. Endless amounts of innovations, like brainwave measuring device, groundbreaking blood test through capillaries, and laughing in the face of lenses manufacturing capabilities. outlook on storms. An entire platform that pushes science forward. Because there is no I in space. Dreams to be realized. Tips from friends who showed you the way. Two ounces of inspiration. Your inner child. Because the one thing that's more important than to travel light is to make sure travel enlightens an entire generation. Thousands of schools that joined the mission. Your nation's brightest young inquisitive minds. A sense of humor. A prayer just in case. A few words of wisdom. 306,757 to be exact. And another 4 to be exact. Amazing partners, local and foreign. And a big thank you to those who made it possible, or just a big. Akia, there is no dream beyond reach.
We're just over 63 minutes away from launch. Everything continues to go well out at Pad 39A for the Axiom 1 mission flight to the International Space Station. Right now, Falcon 9 team is in the middle of the fuel bleed through the Merlin engines. That's going well. We've also done checkouts on the first and second stages. We're doing some final data checks. That's also looking good. Up on the Dragon capsule, you can see the crew access arm. The seal from the white room has actually been deflated. You can see it's pulled away a little bit. We're getting ready for the advanced team to leave the pad at about T-minus 1 hour. So they're on track right now to close out. We did have a good side hatch leak check. And so we're doing just the very last steps to get the capsule ready for flight and then leave the pad. And of course, in the background, as you can see on the monitors or on your screens, it's blue skies over Kennedy Space Center, Pad 39A. Weather's looking good, both in the local area, as well as when we head northeast towards the space station, the ascent trajectory looks good. So at T-minus 1 hour and 2 minutes, all systems are go.
All right, well, you're looking at a live view of the Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft that is in the final stages of preparation to launch the world's first all-private astronaut mission to the International Space Station in just over 1 hour from now. Today's launch marks the next step in evolution of the human spaceflight story. This is the first of a number of planned private astronaut missions, or PAMs, by Axiom Space to the International Space Station, and it represents the culmination of years of hard work between both government and private entities to open up the doors to low Earth orbit. My name is John Rackham, and I am the Crew Systems Deputy Manager at Axiom Space, based out of Houston, Texas.
For awareness, we are cycling orbit tank isolation valves to equalize low flow pressure.
All right. right? Just some back and forth there between the crew and the core. My name is Kate Tice. I'm the Quality Systems Engineering Manager here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. With our coverage now expanding to NASA television, I'd like to welcome friend from NASA, Dan Hewitt, coming to us from Johnson Space Center over at Houston, Texas. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Kate, great to see you and the Johns. We're excited to join and get this milestone mission off the ground.
Liftoff time is still holding, let's see, for 11:17 a.m. Eastern Time, and currently tracking no issues with Falcon 9 or Dragon. The range remains green, and as you can see there with that shot, the weather is definitely cooperating.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day for launch.
What a gorgeous shot. Now, over the last 3 hours, Axiom astronauts Michael Lopez Alegria, Larry Connor, Mark Pathy, and Eitan Stibba donned their SpaceX suits in our new suit-up room and were then transported to the pad where our crew entered the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft that you see there live on your screen.
Right, and since arriving at the spacecraft, our crews were helped by the closeout engineers or advanced team to get into their seats, attach their suits to special umbilicals that provide breathing air and a communication link to Dragon systems. And at that point, they conducted successful leak checks and communication checks with the core here in Hawthorne, which is the person dedicated to speaking directly to the crew throughout the mission.
The closeout team then sealed the hatch, which also gets its own leak check. Unfortunately, that leak check didn't pass the first time, so we opened it back up, wiped it down, and performed that leak check again. And that second one was good. So that leak check is closed. Or excuse me, that side hatch is now closed. Moments from now, the closeout team will depart the pad while weather operators kick off their final check on wind speeds at the pad before the final go, no-go for launch. But before we get to that final go, no-go, the SpaceX team will do an internal poll, making sure conditions are ready with Falcon 9, Dragon, the crew, the range, and the weather. Let's pause now and watch watch the closeout crew as they finalize their preparations there on the pad. As you can see, the crew there on the right-hand side of your screen continuing to wait another 57 minutes until we lift off from pad 39A, which you can see there on the left-hand side of your screen. We can confirm that the closeout team has departed the access arm there, so that's good news. Now, as the countdown continues, let's take a moment to get reacquainted with our crew today.